Hello, everyone. My name is Martijn van Exel, and I'm presenting about MapRoulette tonight. I am honored to be here. It's the first time I'll be able to present to you from far away, thanks to the fact that this conference is virtual. There's a lot of drawbacks to virtual conferences. I've been to a few, and it's not easy. I'm incredibly thankful to the organizers for putting this together in spite of everything. And on the plus side, I'm able to be here with you from the other side of the world to present about MapRoulette today. I'll be around in the chat and afterwards for questions and to get to know you hopefully a little bit. I'm looking forward to it. So let's get started. I'm going to talk about three things today. First thing is I want to introduce what MapRoulette actually is, assuming a lot of you don't know it. Although I know that it's been a pretty popular tool in the Philippines for contributing to OpenStreetMap, but I still feel that it requires an explanation. So I'll spend a little bit of time on that. I will also talk about kind of how to improve OSM using MapRoulette as a mapper. How can you actually use it? How can you do it? How can you go to MapRoulette and do something meaningful to improve OSM? So that will be the second part. Third part is about the new features that we've added in 2020 to the platform, and hopefully it will give you a sense of what you can do you might not know about, and maybe give you an appetite to create tasks for other people to solve as well, because that's what the bulk of that part of the presentation is about. So, what is MapRoulette? So it's a web application at maproulette.org, and it contains basically a large number of tasks that anyone can pull up to make a meaningful contribution to OpenStreetMap. So if you're new to mapping, you don't really know where to start, MapRoulette would be a great place to start to just kind of find a task, find something to do, and solve it, and move on to the next task. The tasks are most of them are very very quick to do within a minute or two. So it's easy to do a lot of them if you want, or if you feel inspired. It's all kind of small things mainly. It's MapRoulette has been around for a little while, actually since 2012, and it's been developed ever since by me and others. It's an open source project, so anyone can contribute to it, and I'm happy to talk about that, of course, because more contributors are always welcome. Um, on the task side, we have more than 2 million tasks already solved over that period of time. I've actually stopped keeping track completely because there's been so many different versions of MapRoulette, and we've changed platforms and databases and all these things. So, but there's definitely more than 2 million tasks that has been solved through MapRoulette, which is I think a respectable amount. There's tasks for every level of mapper. If you're just starting out, there's something for you. If you're an advanced mapper, there's also challenging things that might appeal to you as well. MapRoulette itself is not an editor. It's not an editing software, but you'll be working with the existing OpenStreetMap editors to actually do the work, but MapRoulette will guide you to the work. So that's how it's placed in the whole workflow, and we'll have a closer look at that in a little bit. MapRoulette includes functionality also for more advanced use cases. Like there's an API that you can that people can use to submit tasks and submit challenges and consume the results. So if you have a more advanced use case that requires that kind of interaction, that's also very possible. I won't be talking about that today, but I'm happy to kind of talk to you about that at any time. Just get in touch and ask. And there's also functionality for organized mapping teams, like you can review other people's work, you can organize people in projects, and those kinds of things. Today, though, I want to kind of zoom in on kind of what it is like to use MapRoulette as a mapper. And the first entry into that is really to choose something to work on. And actually, for that, I think it's best to just switch to the MapRoulette application itself, and just kind of let you see how that works. So you basically start here. You clicked on Find Challenges, And then you're presented with a map and a long list of challenges that are available. It will load only a few by default, but there's many more, believe me. And you can then use the map to kind of go to an area that you're interested in. We'll see that the tasks reload, but then there's still quite a few. So you might want to further sort of narrow that down if you only want to work on road-related tasks, and you can choose that, and it will load only those. If you want to work on buildings, then you can use that filter, and you can see that the list changes whatever you choose. The list changes to represent only those challenges that have tasks in that area for that category. So that's basically a little bit about choosing a challenge to work on for MapRoulette. And there's other filters as well. You can see only easy tasks, for example. You can also sort it different ways. You can sort it by popularity. You can sort it by what's newest, etc. So there's many different ways to basically sort and filter and find exactly what you want to do. We'll return to this later, but let's go back to the presentation for a moment. Then once you've selected a challenge, you'll be presented with this home page. Each challenge has a home page, and you can see there that it has some basic statistics of how much is already fixed and where the tasks are on that map on the left. And then from there on, you can dive right into the challenge with the start button that is actually right below here. You can't see it, but if you scroll down, then it would be there. And then once you click start, you get a random task within this challenge, right? So then you get to this next screen where you are presented with the task that is assigned to you. So this task is centered on that little piece of road there with the weird angle. And that's actually what the challenge maker wants you to solve. It has detected all these streets that have sharp angles all across Southeast Asia, and those are usually suspicious. So the question is, can you solve it? Can you look at the aerial imagery and other evidence to see if this actually needs to be realigned or straightened out or whatever? So once you've done this, you basically see that group of buttons on the left, and one of them is edit. So you click edit. Here in this group, edit. You can skip it as well, but edit will take you to the editor, and it will then present that exact same location in the editor of your choice. In this case, ID. So you can see clearly here that there is something to solve. The road is not how it's supposed to be. That angle is actually not correct. So you can go ahead and solve that, and you will see as you then solve it and try to upload the result, that it will already have hashtags included related to MapRoulette. So it will always the people who look at these change sets will know that they're coming from MapRoulette tasks. So then when you come back to MapRoulette from ID, you basically switch to the MapRoulette tab in your browser again, and then you can say that you fixed it. You can confirm that by leaving a comment. Optionally, you don't have to, but that's encouraged. So the challenge maker you can tell them if you had any trouble, or if there's something you wanna submit to leave with the task. So that's a quick walkthrough of how MapRoulette works from a mapper's perspective, and I think that will give me a nice way to go into the next part of the presentation, where I talk about kind of the newer features of MapRoulette, and that will allow me to talk a little bit more about the different challenge types that exist, and how to think about kind of creating a challenge as well, and also to think about kind of what type of challenge will fit best with what you want mappers to solve. Let me go back. So to go over the new features, I wanted to highlight 4. So there, MapRoulette is now available in more than 12 languages, and more are being added every day. it's easy to contribute to this localization, and a lot of people already do. There's a website called Transifex that is, I think, used by some other OSM projects as well, that you can just log on to, and it will have a MapRoulette project on there, and you can just start translating strings. It's a really easy to use interface. So if you find that MapRoulette is not available in your language and you're able to translate, I'd be happy for you to get in touch and I'll get you started on translating, and that's a pretty easy thing to get involved with. So that I'd highly encourage that. I love seeing MapRoulette in as many languages as possible. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we launched like different challenge types. So the one thing I talked about just now, the workflow for solving a task is basically the traditional way to use MapRoulette, right? You see a task, you go to ID or JOSM, you make the edit, and you go back to MapRoulette, and you start again. There is, however, a couple new types of challenges that I've not talked about very much yet, but they're potentially really powerful. So I wanted to really spend some time on that. And those are tag quick fix challenges and cooperative challenges. Well, I'll explain in a moment what those are. Finally, for new things to round out that overview is we have a brand new learning and documentation website that is completely searchable, and for now English only. But I still wanted to highlight that because it's a great resource if you want to start getting involved with MapRoulette, either as a mapper or as someone who wants to create tasks for other people to solve, or even to get involved in development and maintenance. And finally, there's a completely new challenge creation wizard, and I hope I have time to kind of dive into that a little bit as well. So let me not waste any more time and get right into that. So let's talk about the quick fix challenges first. I'll go over those in a few slides, but just quickly to summarize, with the quick fix challenge, you can modify OSM features from within MapRoulette without a round trip to the OSM editor. So MapRoulette, you won't have to leave MapRoulette to do it. The mapper can accept, reject, or amend the suggestion within MapRoulette as well, and that change is then committed to OSM directly. This only works for tags. You can't modify actual nodes or ways in it, and you can only create them using external tools, not in the website itself. So the way that works, it looks very similar to a regular challenge, but you see that there's a new dialog that highlights the proposed tag changes, right? So in this case, on the left, you'll see the current situation, and then the proposed situation. In this case, the speed limit would be increased from 60 to 70 based on some evidence that you present to the mapper. And basically the completion dialog is, instead of edit, you will just be asked if the tag changes are correct or not. You can even also expand that dialog and see more detail about what stays the same and what is changed, what is added, what is deleted. And you can also actually, as a mapper, you can manually edit those changes as well. So you have a lot of flexibility if you want it. And if you really want to go really deep, you can even see and copy the OSM change. That would be this is the data that would be submitted to OSM to enact the change. So that's a little bit about quick fix challenges. So the other type that I'm also really excited about that is new is cooperative challenges. So those go a step further. The changes that you want mappers to make are actually included in the task, and those are not just tag changes, but actually new geometries or new or changed geometries that you can forward to the editor. So that when the mapper clicks edit, the data to be added or changed is already present in JOSM. This only works in JOSM for now. I'll explain later why that is. Actually, it's the best way to show that is to just show you how that works. Let me see. So here's a task, right? So this is one of those cooperative challenges. So from external data, someone has identified that there's here we have we have there's supposed to be a feature here, a cattle grid, cattle guard, that is not an OSM yet. So when you click edit, then what happens is this feature is then loaded in JOSM, as you see here. And instead of just showing this area, you already see that the feature is already added to JOSM. So all you need to do is basically join it to the existing way, upload it, and continue. So the work of the mapper is made a lot easier that way. So then you would return to MapRoulette and say that you fixed it. So it basically takes one step out of the process by already supplying you with the feature. And you could see this being useful, for example, for building footprints or address points that you get from an external source. Instead of just importing them, you can just ask mappers to look at each one of them and have it done that way. So the cooperative challenges make that possible. So coming back to the learning and the documentation, I mentioned that already a little bit. This is a pretty fancy new documentation site that we built around MapRoulette. There's a lot of information there, both for beginners and also for people who are much more advanced and want to create their own challenges. There's a screencast and videos. We record new ones from time to time. Actually, I think I'll put this one here as well for people to be able to consume. It's currently in English only, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that will change over time as well. So to finalize, I just wanted to mention one challenge that we created recently. I work at a TomTom company that makes maps for a living, and we got interested in looking at how we can use some of our data to help improve OpenStreetMap as well. And one thing we came up with is like, how about we take our address data that we have address data for a lot of countries, and how about we compare that with the road data in OSM and see which roads in OSM are and don't yet have a name, and we have addresses that suggest that this road should have a name. And we know what that name is. So you see that here at the bottom. We have this bunch of address points here that kind of surround this road, and these address points all share the same road name, namely Nara Street. And this road in OSM does not have a name yet, so that's a pretty obvious candidate for adding this name to OSM. So in this way, we think we can help a little bit by completing the named road, the naming of roads in the Philippines. We have 5,300 tasks outstanding. I've already beta tested it with a few of the Philippines OSM community members, and the feedback was pretty positive. So I'm hoping you can all take a look and help out. And please let me know if it's useful or not, and how we might potentially improve it as well. So I think that's it. I think that's all I have for today. I hope I gave you a little bit of an overview of MapRoulette, and I hope also that it's helped you kind of see the power of what it can do, and also maybe inspire you to help to go start make your own challenges. If you want to do that, of course, I'm always available on email and Twitter, and I'll hang around after the talk to answer any questions directly. But there's also a Slack channel on the OpenStreetMap US Slack that is dedicated to MapRoulette. We have a GitHub project that has all the source code and where we can be contacted as well. So there's plenty of ways to get in touch. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope that you were inspired to kind of do something with MapRoulette, and I hope to talk to you about that very soon. Thank you very much.